Hi, Sterling Allen here. I just got at the Keshe conference. It's September 21st, 2012. I'm way late. It's 45 minutes after the thing ended. My flight was really late, and anyway, I'm just gonna go say hi to some people. Talking for about 45 minutes. Only pictures, no photos?
No.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay. And we're just milling around in the hall here. I've been having some nice chats. This is the reception area. And little lounge here. And book table. And then we've got, I guess the conference room is in here. Entryway. Konstantin Meyl is speaking today. Chatting afterwards here. And, yeah, just really, I'm just taking a quick documentary of this as well after the event. Thing on the wall.
The sign of dopo.
And I've shown the entryway. And these are the offices back here. And this is Mr. Keshe's office. It's nice. Got your own little sink. This is your office?
This is where I do my most of damage.
Good.
Anything you would like to know?
Yes. How do you think the conference went today?
Fantastic.
I heard that you said that people who had purchased the 5 kilowatt system could expect delivery possibly as early as December 14th?
No. We said we have a presentation on December the 14th.
Okay.
It'll be delivered in December.
In December, after that?
It doesn't matter, we don't say when.
Okay.
But in December there is a delivery date.
And also, I understand there might be some UFO sightings.
Who is a UFO sighting? We don't believe in UFOs. We make gravitational magnetic field system. You call it UFO, we call it our gravitational system.
And that would be in Germany? Why Germany?
Who said Germany? You've been misinformed too much.
Well, that's why I wanted to get the record straight. Let's get it from the horse's mouth.
The demonstration is in Belgium, and we have one of the, hopefully, American astronauts will be present. We received the confirmation this morning, so we have kicked the situation into motion from Monday, more or less, to organize between 3,000 to 5,000 people auditorium for the energy system and the presentation of space technology. For the first time, we will show reactors in public.
Good. And that will be where? Do you have a place located?
No, we just, the agreement just came in this morning. So now it's a process of putting everything in motion.
Good.
It'll be in Brussels, it'll be in Belgium, 100%.
And you would invite the other astronauts as well?
No, this is the agreement made, so we keep it that way.
Okay.
If they want to come, they're welcome.
Okay.
There is a possibility that still American government might block such a presentation, but that's a different proposition.
Okay. And is the public welcome to this event?
There's 3,500, 5,000 people. I think they're all public.
Okay. If there's an overwhelming surge of interest, would you go to a different venue?
We don't know yet. This is just about to happen in past 24 hours, so we have to see it.
And, okay. What other highlights could we mention from the conference?
It's not a conference, it's part of the teaching process.
Right.
Today was the first teaching. We have a second one, the medical, on the 7th of November. Then we have the 14th of December. Then we have one in January. We bring scientists to explain their field of expertise, and then we talk about the parallel level. Today we had Professor Meyl from Germany about the Tesla. And we showed how it works as a plasma, but the same concept, so there is not much far from what it is. And we're just adding to knowledge. We're not putting anything new out.
And you're going to be putting this on the web, right?
Yes.
As well as, are you going to put them as a whole conference or individual segments?
It's all been thought what the boys and the webmaster team want to do. Then we put, the decision is that we put it like half an hour, because 4 or 5 hour session, 10 hour session is too long. We put on a half an hour, Every half an hour has got a click, donation, paid before and free. You choose yourself, and if you think you wanted knowledge free, you press the free button, you see it, you press the donation, you donate what you like for what you learn, or what you might learn from the technology. And if you've been there before, you just press been there before. We leave from now on to people to be correct themselves for the rest of the system. Okay. We don't sit there and check you haven't paid, we don't let you in. Everybody gets access, the technology is free. The guy in Africa has no money, but he wants to have the knowledge, so he takes it free. So this is how we work in the foundation. We do the same thing in our medical at the moment. We tell you the cost of the medical system, that's what we want. You decide if you want to pay, you want to pay half of it, you want to pay it in installments, or you say, I have no job, I don't want to pay, or I don't believe in it till I'm cured or I'm sorted, you still get it. Once we give you a figure, it's your decision to be honest with yourself, with the rest of humanity, and that's it.
Okay. And these will be available through your website or on YouTube?
The boys do the usual way. I don't, most probably won't see it till it's on the net.
Okay.
We got a camera crew, the foundation has its own camera team, their own webmaster, they decide. I've just done the presentation, the rest goes in their head.
What are some of the exciting things coming up?
Africa.
That's right, I heard about that.
I'm in Sierra Leone on 12th of October, in 3 weeks' time. I'm guest of the government for 7 days. I give lecture in 3 or 4 universities, and scientists from other universities around in Africa have been invited by the university chancellors themselves to be part of it. And then I come back, and most probably I go to South America for again the same process to transfer technology. We transfer the technology free of charge to governments. We give them everything A to Z. It depends how they feel for the knowledge they receive, they want to put or allow the foundation to go forward. That's as simple as that.
Would they be getting the same technology that Iran has?
Of course. Everybody gets the same. There is no difference. We offer the same thing to the American government, but they decide to pay deaf ear is their problem.
So when you're over there, how much time will you be spending with engineers?
I don't know, because it depends how receptive they are, what they want to do, and how far they see. At the moment, we see a development between 3 to 6 months by governments.
Will you be having some of the engineers from Iran go there with you?
No. I've got nothing to do with the Iranian government's development. I transfer knowledge, what they do with it is theirs. Okay. It's the same with the Africans, it'll be the same with the South Americans, it'll be the same with the Indian government or the Chinese. We show them, we teach them how it's done, and then they develop their own brand, their own text, their own texture. I don't choose. Iran was because they invited me and they developed it. Belgians invited me here and they made a prison out of me. Belgium is more or less open prison for me. So Belgium spent they spent thousands of euros, tens of hundreds of thousands of euros in past 7 years evaluating my technology. But they're classifying it, they're hiding it. And they spend more money than any other government evaluating bits and bits and bits and bits of my technology, and every single one of them is correct. In Belgium, you got into the hang of petaphiles. They control a lot of high power positions here, and they want the technology, otherwise they do all sorts of things. So the reason we've been kept out of press in Belgium is because of these organized pedophile organizations in this country. There's nothing wrong with the technology. It's just that they are a very powerful, active group in this country. So
do you feel in danger being here?
No. It's there, they do their job, we do our job. They get the little children to play with, and the government allows them to do, and we carry on with playing with our little reactors. We develop science and they do criminality, and they're okay to exist. We exist side by side because that's how the society is.
Any final comments before you get on to your busy day?
Not really. I wish the Americans were open, or your people were open, to play and don't play this silly game of cat and mouse with us. We get scientists, American scientists. We have so many top scientists from America who want and are collaborating or would like to collaborate. Yeah, but because of the governments, they don't want to do just their fear of their position. Yeah? But now we see break of rank from different scientists because they cannot understand why and the reason for it. We announce today, if they bring my key, I'll show you who's coming. Just if you can go off the record, I'll show you something.
Go ahead.
The Naturopathica is a recognized organization for alternative therapies in Belgium. When they give you a certificate, you can operate. Here it says the therapy has been accepted in our therapy matrix as a new form of bioenergetic therapy by the Board of Governors of Naturopathica on the 26th of 2011. For addition to our group insurance. It's already insured as well by them. It means if anything happens, they are insuring it on behalf of the government. So to get such a certificate takes years. They approached us, they checked our volunteers who've been through the process, and in less than 6 months, they issued a document. Yeah? So on the medical side, we've been well tested. And the things we do is well known. So we don't talk out of line. We keep very, but people, whatever they like to say, they can say. I'm not here to please people, I'm here to develop a technology.
You have to get to dinner, right?
Yep, I've invited people for dinner. I've got to get them there.
Here's Konstantin, and he's going to give us a brief summary of how the conference went and what he talked about in his presentation.
Well, I had the task to talk about Nikola Tesla and as well about the Keshe technology, but the problem was that I was not familiar with the technology of Keshe, who was inviting me, so that I could only speak about Tesla. And Nikola Tesla, this is my specialty because I have reproduced the technology of Tesla more than 12 years ago. I could show the first time a reproduction of his historic experiment producing scalar waves, electric scalar waves. Well, this system could be explained by oscillating circuit, but this circuit has special properties, and I pointed out these properties, and I could show as well the rebuild we have produced, and Mr. Keshe has bought one of these experimental kits and has bought as well the power kit. The power kit we have developed and constructed for more power than just to drive a boat in a pool or a small model of an airplane.
So these are basically toy level devices. Where can people get this kit?
Yeah, we have made it available on my homepage, which is www.meyl.eu.
M-Y-E-L.
M-E-Y-L. And there we have a description as well, what is in the kit, and we have a demonstration kit, which is the minimized version, only to show the properties of scalar waves. Then we have made available the experimental kit, where we have different sort of coils and even a counter and so on, and the signal generator, so that you are able to reproduce a lot of experiments which are, well, showing new properties. Many properties are well known, are explained by standard technology, but the new things are in our interest. That means that I'm able to show that these scalar waves are quicker propagating than the speed of light, that they're not shieldable, and so on, that there is a reaction from the receiver back to the transmitter, and so on. So a lot of things I could figure out and I could show with these experiments. And another kit, which is the biggest one, is the power kit. It has about 10 watt. The experiment kit has only 50 milliwatt, so this is much more power. It's enough for a boat or other model to show that the transportation of energy wirelessly is possible. And I showed this with a lamp, which was a glowing fluorescent lamp, which was glowing in the field. This was one wireless application, and another one was that I could show that if I drive this power kit and there is on the table, on the same table, another resonance system, it is getting the energy as well. So this was wirelessly, and this was without earthing cable, which Tesla always was using, but it is always as well used as a critics of the Tesla technology, that they try to say that this is not actually wireless if I need a cable, an earthing cable. So it is possible to drive the system without this earthing cable, but then it is not the Tesla original system anymore. You see, because Tesla has always used the earthing connection. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to replicate Tesla. I wanted to find out whether he was right or wrong. I wanted his experiment to be reproducible.
And you've done that?
Yeah, this is what we did. And so now it is reproducible, and a lot of universities and companies as well, famous companies, are nowadays reproducing this experiment, and they see that this is right.
How many universities?
Well, I don't know actually, because I don't do the selling. It's my institute what is doing it. I think it could be about between 50 and 100 universities.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even more.
How many kits have you sold total?
I don't know exactly, but this is more than 500.
Mm-hmm. And how much are the kits?
Well, the demonstration kit is 900 euro, and the experimental kit is 1,400, and the power kit is 3,600 euro.
Mm-hmm. What's your primary project right now that you're working on?
I'm a bit propagating, this is why I'm here, you see, this technology. And when I was invited, for example, to Russia, that was in August this year, they wanted me to talk about the wireless transmission of energy. It was a colleague from Samsung who was the chairman at this conference, electromagnetic conference. It is called PIRS, Progress in Electromagnetic Research. It's a very important conference, and this time it was in Moscow. And they wanted me to give a presentation, and when I was invited, I said, okay. I tried to submit 3 papers, and at the end all 3 papers had been accepted, so that I had really 3 presentations, and I gave the same 3 presentations as well in America. One was about the theory. The theory, which is, I call it self-consistent electrodynamics. This is the title of my book. I gave some hints today about the content of this book. And especially in Russia, that was really a good audience to discuss it. All specialists about theory of electromagnetism, which had been there. And as well in Albuquerque, where I had been, I gave this presentation at the NPA, the National Philosophical Alliance, I think it is called.
Right.
And they invited me as well, and I was talking about my theory. The second presentation was the wireless transmission of energy. and I gave the same presentation at Albuquerque at the Tesla Tech conference, which was
Right.
at the same time at the same place,
Right.
but another conference. And you have been there, I think, so that you have seen my presentation over there. It was exactly the same, and part of these as well I was talking about today. And, the third one, I still have to add the third one. The third presentation was about the DNA. That means the biological use of scalar waves, and I point out that these use in our body, in our cells, is a magnetic scalar wave, which is used to read and to write the DNA for communication from cell to cell, and even to get the information out of the cell, which is really stored inside, and nobody knows how it gets out and how it is transporting energy and information, as these DNA wave does.
That's something I studied quite extensively when I was a graduate and undergraduate student. What is known about the transcription and reading of DNA. On the energy front, you're involved in energy studies. Are you planning on taking a technology to market? Are you involved in that at all?
I as well discussed this with companies who are interested in this technology, such as the ABB in Switzerland, and Bombardier. I have contact with this company producing underground railways. They are using nowadays induction systems to support and transmit power to the trains, and these systems have quite a good efficiency as long as the two parts of the transformer are very near one to the other. But if as the train is moving, then I have spreading fields, and then I have problems with efficiency. And spreading fields means as well that we are influencing people standing at the side waiting for the train. If the train is getting in or getting out, then they are influenced. And this is what we have to avoid. We have to find solutions which are better. And I think the Tesla technology could be a better solution, especially the wireless transmission, or in some applications as well, the one-wire system.
Okay, now we can resume without as much noise. We've got people going in the hall here. We're in a side room here. Okay.
Well, the presentation about the DNA I gave at Orlando. There was a big conference this year, and I was talking about the communication of cells. And this as well is published in the Cell Biology, which is a very famous journal.
I was subscribed to that as a graduate student. Yeah, it's a very prestigious journal.
In April this year, it is published. And even in other journals as well. You see these papers if you go on my internet presentation, my home seat. There you see, if you look under papers and there are medical use, then you see these papers. I have made it available for everybody if you are interested in these papers, because otherwise you would have to pay for to buy the journal, the issue.
They're very expensive.
Very expensive they are. I know this, and but I made it available now, so that you can have a look at these papers which are published.
And so you're basically serving as an advisor to various companies who are interested in implementing something on a practical level?
Yes. Well, I do this for more than 20 years, that I'm working for industry. Together with the industry, I get orders from industry and I'm developing. At the beginning, these orders had been a standard technology, and there are a lot of examples what I did in that long period for the industry, just like the double clutch system cars are using today very often. That had been a development which started in my institute, and a lot of practical applications for robotics.
Could I go into more of maybe a philosophical, political direction for a second and say, what are your thoughts about the world economic situation and what alternative energy, free energy could do for that?
Well, we know that the energy industry in the whole world is very conservative, so that they earn money with the technology of today, and that they only start to act if they have problems to survive. As long as the system of today is working, they see no necessity to change their technology, and this is a problem. But I can't say that the industry is against these new ideas. They are still watching what I'm doing, and they discuss it with me and one with the other. And it's the problem is that one of them has to be the first, and I don't know who is the first. If the first company is using the wireless transmission of energy, especially as an example, to drive an electric car, to recharge the batteries, or even to send the energy to the cars, so that the cars don't need any batteries, or only batteries for accelerating if they start the cars, you see. Then they need a bit more energy, but in the average it is less, so that we are able to reload the batteries, but we don't need batteries for, let me say, 500 miles or even more. This could be a solution, but the question is, who is the first? If one is starting this technology, then they all want it. This is normal. And at the time, there is really the discussion. I as well had the discussion, especially for the transmitter technology, because if we want to use this system for the whole world, that means that I need a really big transmitter with megawatt power, so that he will have contracts with customers, with drivers, with cars in Europe, and then in America. And if they go to bed, then the Japanese are using the energy, and then in Russia again, and then in Europe, and so on. So this shows that if you have a big power plant, which is be used the whole day long and night long, so 24 hours a day, then you are able to have a lot of customers, so that in the average the power nearly is always the same. This is what we have to reach, that we don't have a lot of change in the needed power, that it goes up and down. It goes up and down. We know this, but if we have a bigger amount of users, then it is better for the transmitter and for the producer.
What about distributed power? Isn't that the direction we want to go, so we don't have central grid anymore?
The field lines always end up at the receiver. So if the car is moving, it is moving the field lines automatically with the receiver, with the load. so that there is no influence. You don't have to direct your signal. It is directed by the receiver. If the receiver goes into resonance, then you have the direction, you see. So the problem more is that you need a system which is modulating the power, so that only those guys who are paying for the energy get the energy. So you need a system, a pay system, how to pay it and how to organize it, that if there are several competitors, that you have a choice to use the maybe the gas from Siberia, or the heat from the ground in Iceland, or in Canada or in Alaska, the energy from, or even from the desert. At daytime they have enough power, solar power, so that we have a lot of sources in our environment, and the only problem is how to transport it. And a wireless system would be the absolute perfect solution.
So you're saying wireless transmission could replace the transmission lines on the grid level?
Yeah.
Are we talking about a Wardenclyffe tower type of situation?
Yeah, the Wardenclyffe tower has had 7.5 megawatt, so this was enough for driving a car. But I think about bigger things, bigger devices, more than maybe 50 or 100 megawatt.
And that's how much power is being transmitted. So the receiver is of that size.
No, the transmitter is of that size, and he is supporting several receivers.
Okay.
That means several cars. Because you know the average of your car, if you start your car, you need maybe 100 kilowatt. But if you let it run, you need only 10 kilowatt.
Now they are going to be uploading the presentation that was made today to the web.
Yeah.
In closing, do you want to make any final statements or synopsis of the event and what you're about?
Well, I'm talking about these practical applications, not only here in Brussels. I did the same presentation last week in Switzerland and in America and in Russia and so on, so that they all know that this technology could be developed if we find somebody who takes the first step. And this is what I hope. My hopes are that somebody says, okay, I want to put my money into this system, and then we develop it. Next step would be power transmission system of about 10 kilowatt. Well, this was just the power Tesla was using in Colorado Springs, 10 kilowatt. And this would be enough to support one car, only one car, just to demonstrating it for TV and so on, that everybody could see that this technology is possible. And then we would take the next step. This step for 10 kilowatt is between half and 1 million euro, about. That is what is needed for this step. And then we have to size it up for bigger powers and so on, until we have the system. And we have a lot of problems to solve, like the individualization, as Tesla was calling it. It is, I speak about the modulation, that only the one who pays gets the energy. So these are problems we have to solve, and we have to develop the technology. But we are engineers, so that we know if there is a problem, then we know how to solve the problem.
Okay, and so who is your primary audience in making this sell of trying to get this technology adopted? Who is the
Which technology?
The wireless transmission technology.
Well, I discussed this with the car industry. But the car industry, they are all competitors. You see, if I have one company, then what is with the competitor? He wants the same technology. So it is better to have a company which is supporting all these car industry car companies. And I'm discussing this with such a company, with the biggest one in the world in this field. So this may be that we are doing this step next. I'm just waiting for the money that I can start. So this is always
and who would bring that money? An investor or the
It's not an investor. It is a company which is supporting and constructing part of cars and selling it to all the companies in the whole world.
Okay.
And so they're very famous, but this is only one solution. I as well discussed it with ABB, for instance. I gave a presentation, and they are now using my experimental kit and playing with it. But they told me that if they have a customer like RWE in Germany, which is a big energy company, and if they get an order, that they order this technology from ABB, a transmitter, then they would construct the transmitter. They would do it. But without order, they say that, well, then they have developed something and paid a lot of money and nobody wants it. The risk is too big. Not the technical risk, but the commercial risk which is involved with this. So they want to be sure that the technology is used at the end, and then I think the way would be free to get the money to do it. There are special problems, you see, and but I'm sure they are the best to construct the transmitter, the power. This is, or Siemens perhaps. Such a company could do this, or in America, General Electric also. They have the ability, they have the money, they have the experience to handle these power. But there is still another problem, which is the receiver. And the construction of the receiver we want for the cars is even more difficult, to get them into resonance, to construct the pay system, and so on. So we have a lot of things to consider, to develop, and these receivers, which have the size just enough for one car, 100 kilowatt, for instance, to construct these things. This could be done by smaller companies, and at this point I would help with my experience. I would need to.
What kind of, if we got some traction going and things started moving forward, as they said over at Storn, a tanker it takes a long time to turn a tanker, a big company, and you're talking about technologies or the implementation that would take a while to implement. How long do you think it would be before we could see, if things were actually starting today and we actually had this companies that were coming to the table, how long would it be before we could see these in our cars?
Well, if we start today, you see, if we start 1 year later, then we have lost 1 year anyway.
Right.
But if we say we would start today, then in perhaps 2 years we could have bigger sizes, 10 kilowatt, for instance. This is enough to show that this technology is possible for cars, because today I have only these small models, but this is a toy, and for I have to have 10 kilowatt. This would be enough for a bicycle or for a car or something like this. Then we would need perhaps 3 or 4 years to develop all the special problems. You see, in 2 years I think we could show the system, but we know that this system has to be improved by a lot of special things. Modulation, how to bring it into resonance, how to keep the resonance, how to follow the resonance. If the distance is changing, then the resonance is changing as well, and we have to follow this, you see. These are problems, real problems. We have to find a solution, and I think we need more time to develop all these special things. I think about 4 years, and then we could do the next step to size up at perhaps 100 kilowatt and 1 megawatt and even more. And then I think it will be about between 10 and 15 years. I think that at the beginning the costs are very low. I can do the first step with, let me say, 500,000. But then the next is increasing, and then the more people see that this technology is available and is possible, the more companies want to join this group. Yeah. And at the end, they all want it. And this means that we have, at the end, we have a huge amount of money and a huge amount of engineers who all are working on this special effect, so that the money, you don't speak about any money. This is a huge amount, it is at the end, but it is a huge market at the end as well. Yeah. Because we are replacing one car after the other from the technology of today by this new technology.
As Stephen Greer says, everyone's first to be second, but no one wants to be first.
Yeah.
And so you have to find that.
Now the situation, who is the first? I don't know. And well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Presentation, but that's a different proposition.
Okay. And is the public welcome to this event?
There's 3,500, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. I think they're all public.
Okay. If there's an overwhelming surge of interest, would you go to a different venue?
We don't know yet. This is just about to happen in past 24 hours, so we have to see it.
And, okay. What other highlights could we mention from the conference?
It's not a conference, it's part of the teaching process.
Right.
Today was the first teaching. We have a second one, the medical, on the 7th of November. Mm-hmm. Then we have the 14th of December. Then we have one in January. We bring scientists to explain their field of expertise, and then we talk about the parallel level. Today we had Professor Meyl from Germany about the Tesla, and we showed how it works as a plasma, but the same concept, so there is not much far from what it is. And we're just adding to knowledge, we're not putting anything new out.
And you're going to be putting this on the web, right?
Yes.
As well as, are you going to put them as a whole conference or individual segments?
It's all been magnetic field system. You call it UFO, we call it our gravitational system.
And that would be in Germany? Why Germany?
Who said Germany? You've been misinformed too much.
Well, that's why I want to get the record straight. Let's get it from the horse's mouth.
The demonstration is in Belgium, and we have one of the, hopefully, American astronauts will be present. We received the confirmation this morning, so we have kicked the situation into motion from Monday, more or less, to organize between 3,000 to 5,000 people auditorium for the energy system and the presentation of space technology. For the first time, we will show reactors in public.
Good. And that will be where? Do you have a place located?
No, we just, the agreement just came in this morning. So now it's a process of putting everything in motion.
Good.
It'll be in Brussels, it'll be in Belgium, 100%.
And you would invite the other astronauts as well?
No, this is the agreement made, so we keep it that way.
Okay.
If they want to come, they're welcome.
Okay.
There is a possibility that still American government might block such a presentation.
The event. Thing on the wall.
sign of dopo.
And I've shown the entryway, and these are the offices back here.
We are in a mess.
And this Mr. Keshe's office is nice. Got your own little sink. This is your office?
This is where I do my most of damage.
Good.
Anything you would like to know?
Yes. How do you think the conference went today?
Fantastic.
I heard that you said that people who had purchased the 5 kilowatt system could expect delivery possibly as early as December 14th?
No. We said we have a presentation on December the 14th.
Okay.
It'll be delivered in December.
In December, after that?
It doesn't matter, we don't say when.
Okay.
But in December there is a delivery date.
And also, I understand there might be some UFO sightings.
Who is a UFO sighting? We don't believe in UFOs. We make
gravitational. Hi, Sterling Allan here. I just got at the Keshe conference. It's September 21st, 2012. I'm way late. It's 45 minutes after the thing ended. My flight was really late, and anyway, I'm just gonna go say hi to some people. Talking for about 45 minutes. Only pictures, no photos? Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay. And we're just milling around in the hall here. I've been having some nice chats. This is the reception area. And little lounge here. And book table. And then we've got, I guess the conference room is in here. Entryway. Konstantin Meyl is speaking today. Chatting afterwards here. And, yeah, I'm just taking a quick documentary of this as well after.
Thought what the boys and the webmaster team want to do. Then we put the decision is that we put it like half an hour because 4 or 5 hours session, 10 hours session is too long. We put on half an hour. Every half an hour has got a click donation, paid before and free. You choose yourself, and if you think you wanted knowledge free, you press the free button. You see it. You press the donation. You donate what you like for what you learn, or what you might learn from the technology. And if you've been there before, you just press been there before. We leave from now on to people to be correct themselves for the rest of the system. Okay. We don't sit there and check you haven't paid, we don't let you in. Everybody gets access, the technology is free. The guy in Africa has no money, but he wants to have the knowledge, so he takes it free. So this is how we work in the foundation. We do the same thing in our medical at the moment. We tell you the cost of the medical system, that's what we want. You decide if you want to pay, you want to pay half of it, you want to pay it in installments, or you say I have no job, I don't want to pay, or I don't believe in it till I'm cured.